Okay. Oh, let me come and press the button. Okay. Hello, welcome everybody. I'm so excited you're here. See people coming in, and I'm really excited. Hopefully you guys are all doing okay. It's Friday. We're ready for the weekend, right? And this is a great class to get the weekend started. You can work on these cards over the weekend. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself, and then we'll talk a little bit about what the class is going to be. So my name is Allie Dosdell, and I work for We Are Memory Keepers. I've been with them for about 10 years, and I've worked in different capacities over the years. Right now, I'm working as their social media marketing manager, so I get to interact with crafters online, and it's really fun. I enjoy that. Also, I guess you could say I'm the face of the brand, the spokesperson. So I represent them on television, at trade shows, conferences, workshops, things like that. So, and I get to teach classes, which I absolutely love. I love teaching crafting to crafting friends. So I am coming at you from Utah. I live near Salt Lake City, close to the mountains, and we have 2 daughters still at home, and we have 3 older kids who have moved on with their lives and are living other places. And we have our sweet little Dorky who's joining me in here. So if you hear a little bark or something, it's our dog. She's a sweetie. Her name's Daisy. So that's a little bit about me. So now let me tell you a little bit about this class. We are going to make 5 different holiday themed cards. They're each unique. They're each a little different. I'd like to kind of add what I call like a hook to each card, which is something just unique that's kind of like the feature of the card. So they're each going to be kind of unique and fun. And we're going to use some We Are Memory Keepers tools that are available at Michael's that I absolutely love. The first one is this one. This is called the Works All-in-One tool. And that's because that's exactly what it is. It's 12 different tools in one. So it's a great value if you have a small craft space, not a lot of space. This is great to get. If you are a beginning crafter, this is a great way to get started and get your feet wet. It's a great gift item. If you have a crafter in your life, this is a terrific gift idea. So I'm going to kind of introduce you to all the different features that it does as we go through the class, but it's literally my go-to crafting tool right now. The other one we're going to use is a good old standard. It is our best-selling tool always. It's the Crop-a-Dile. You might already have one. If you don't, I recommend highly getting one. It's powerful. It can punch 2 different size holes through almost anything: leather, fabric, cardstock, chipboard, thin tin, thin wood, plastic. I mean, it just keeps going. So, and then it also sets eyelets, which is great and handy to have as well. So we're going to use those. And then for paper, we're going to use this cute Recollections paper pad. This is the Holiday Homestead pad. And I really liked it because it sort of has that I don't know, farmhouse kind of vibe that's really popular right now, and kind of a little bit of a rustic look. So it'll be really fun to work with. Also, we're going to use this Christmas embossed pad. This is embossed cardstock and matches with the pad we're going to use. So that's going to be really fun. I love that it has that texture on it already, and really adds some special stuff to your cards. All right, so the first card we're going to make, I'm going to ask to go to the overhead camera now, if we can. Thank you. This is the first card that we're going to make. I'm trying to get this in the right spot. So the fun thing on this card, little hook on this card, is that it has a pocket or a gift card or a photo or whatever you want to put in the front. So we're going to make this card first, and then also you can make matching envelopes in multiple sizes using this tool. So I'm going to show you how to make envelopes with this tool as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. And I will show you the other cards kind of as we go. One quick thing I want to mention, this I'm going to take off because we're actually not using it today, but this is the stamping feature of the tool. So it's actually a stamping pad that has spring-loaded corners, magnetic posts, and it just magnetizes on, and you can press down your stamp so that they go down nice and evenly so you get a perfect impression every time. So just so you know, that is part of the tool, but we're not going to use it in this class. All right, so first thing we're going to do is take this candy striped paper, which is part of that paper pad, and we're going to cut it to 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to try to hold this up. So if you are watching this back, you can pause right here and get that measurement, 8.5 by 5.5. So I've already gone ahead and done that. Obviously with this tool, you can trim. It's got an excellent trimmer. You can also score. So we're going to go ahead now and score this in half. So you're going to pull this arm out, and this gives you up to 14 inches to work with, which is quite a good amount of space. All right, so I'm just going to line this up right here. Oh, and by the way, if you are scoring, you can take this piece here and flip it over, and it's got this little ridge right here where you can put your paper up against for scoring. So that's a nice feature. So we're going to go ahead and score right down the middle at 4.5. So, and this is part of the tool too. It just kind of fits down in there, so you don't ever lose it. It's got a little storage space. All right, and then we're going to fold that and just crease it. This acts as a scoring tool and a bone folder. All right, so that's our card base. Then we're going to take this paper. This is the snowflake paper. It's really pretty. It's got glitter accents on it, and I love it. And we're going to cut it to 3 3/4 by 5. So that's 3 3/4 by 5. And that's going to be our card layer. And the first thing we're going to do with that is we're going to grab the Crop-a-Dile, and we're going to punch a hole. So this tool allows you to punch 3/16 holes or 1/8 inch holes. So we're going to, and then it also has, this is really neat, it has this guide right here that you can slide along and measure how deep you're going to punch that hole, so that if you're punching multiple holes, you can always get it exactly right. So we're going to go ahead and punch at the top here about 1/2 inch down, and then do the same thing on the other side at about 1/2 inch down. And now we've got our holes, and now we're going to set some eyelets in there. And all these supplies are on the class list. These are just little silver eyelets. I believe they're Recollections. And so we're going to set those in those holes. So and this is 3/16 size eyelets as well. So you're going to push that down to the hole. And then let me quickly show you here. The Crop-a-Dile tool has these cubes that you can pull down and rotate. And so that you're able to set different size eyelets. And so you just turn that, and the instructions tell you which settings to use for which size eyelet. This one also rotates as well, depending, you can use different size eyelets. So this is for the 3/16 eyelet. So I've got it set for that. So we're going to go ahead and reposition that in there. And then this top part that sticks down, it's kind of like a knob that comes down, that's going to go in the top. And then I'm just going to squeeze, and that's going to set that eyelet beautifully in there, so that we can add some twine without worrying about the paper tearing. All right, so I'm going to now set this other eyelet. On the other side, we're just going to do the same thing, get that little knob right in the top there, squeeze, and then we've got our second eyelet. Okay, so that's how that works. Now we're going to take some yarn. This is the yarn that's in your class supply list. I've obviously used a ton of it. And I'm going to get a length. Hold on, let me see my measurements on how long we need our yarn. Let me look through my notes. Sorry about that. Maybe I didn't put how much yarn we need. Well, I cut some, so let's see, we can measure. Let's take a look. This is 24, so this is probably just over 2 feet. This is probably about 2.5 feet of yarn. So we may not be exactly that much, but we're just going to go ahead and start ready. So we're going to put this through a few times. We're going to go through the holes around the back, and then we're going to go another time through the holes. Sometimes it helps to twist that up a little bit, tighten it. Or you can add a little piece of Scotch tape on the end of that to make it easier to thread. Let's see. And this is just going to be kind of a fun decoration up at the top. Let's go through one more time. And you don't have to use yarn for this. You could use any kind of twine. You could use ribbon, thin ribbon. It's really up to you. I liked the look of the yarn with the farmhouse kind of style. And plus we're going to be making pom-poms, a pom-pom. So I thought that would be kind of fun to just use some yarn. All right, so we've gone through. Now we're ready to tie this off. I probably cut way more than I needed, but that's all right. So I would recommend maybe 18 inches to 2 feet. And we're just going to tighten that, make sure that there's no excess. All right, and we're going to tie the knot kind of over here to the left side. Just basic square knot, left over right, right over left. And that's just to hold this in place. And then we'll trim off the excess. And I will actually save those pieces because they're pretty good sized pieces that I can use later for another project. Okay, so now let me tell you a trick about adding bows to cards like this. So it's really difficult when you're adding, you know, you're wrapping twine around to tie the perfect bow using the ends from this, you know, twine that you're wrapping around. So here's a little secret, a little card making tip. I tie this around, tie a knot, cut it pretty short, and then I make a bow and just glue the bow onto there, and then it looks perfect. So that's a little card making tip. Now let me show you how to make bows with the Works All-in-One tool. So these pegs are stored in the tool, and they go down here. Let's see, I think probably about there. So this, the width that you put the post will determine the width of the bow that you're going to make. So we're going to actually make a double bow. So I've got 2 feet of yarn here, and we're going to start wrapping around on this side, crisscross over the back, and then come back around to the front. Then I'm going to cross the left side over the right side, take the right side around the back, and then we're ready to just tie a knot, a simple knot just right here. And that is how you make the perfect bow. Now you can do that with ribbon, you can do that with twine, you can do 3 loops, you can do 1 loop. So there's a lot of options for making pretty bows with this tool. Then once I've got that double bow, so you can see, look at that, pretty. I'm going to cut the strings, the ends, like that. And then I'm going to use some glue and just attach that right over that knot there. I'm going to use some liquid glue. You could use like a glue dot, a pop dot. There's all kinds of options for getting this bow onto the card. And actually, I'm going to scoot that knot over just a tad, so it's not quite so close to the end. And then I'm going to add the glue right on top of that knot. And this is quick drying glue. That's kind of nice when you're working with paper crafts, because then you don't have to stand there and hold it forever. All right, so I'm just going to place that right on top there. I like to kind of wiggle it down in there. And we're going to just let that dry. Okay. All right, we're going to set that aside for a minute. Now, in the paper pad, the Holiday Homestead paper pad, there are 2 different pages that have cut out tags that are fabulous. They're beautiful, they're glittery, and really pretty. And this is the one we're going to use for this particular card. So you're going to cut that out. And then what we're going to do, let me skip this over here for a second. We're going to pull this arm back down. Let's put our pegs back in so we don't lose them. We're going to pull this arm down, and this arm has right here, there are 3 different punches. This punch is for making envelopes, and part of making envelopes is that you round the corners. So here's a corner rounder right here. We're just going to use that to round the corners of this pretty tag and make that a little bit more decorative and interesting. All right, And now we are ready to put this card together. Oh, whoops, no, we're not. We need to make an envelope. Okay, envelope time. This is a mini envelope. It's going to end up being 3 inches by 3 inches. So I've gone ahead and cut my paper. This is the red embossed cardstock. It's got kind of like a holly texture to it. And this is 5 by 5. All right, so there's your measurement, 5 by 5. Let me check these before I get confused. Okay, so for making envelopes, we're going to pull out this magical piece here. This is stored on the back of your tool, and it's magnetic. So you slide it in through the top, and it just stores right there. Also, these magnets are great for when you're stamping. I forgot to mention they have those to hold your paper down when you're stamping. And one quick thought I wanted to share about stamping. I'm like just kind of going back here for a second about the stamping. You might wonder if these ridges here, these score lines, are going to affect your stamping. If you're stamping with cardstock, you don't have to worry about it at all. It doesn't leave any marks or anything. If you're stamping with like a text weight paper, like copy paper, then I just recommend putting a scrap of cardstock underneath before you stamp, and you'll be just fine. So I just wanted to mention that before we go on. All right, so pulling out our magical tool. This is for making banners, envelopes, and tags. We're going to make an envelope, so we're going to put this little arrow right here that says envelope, and we're going to line it up on the board, arrow to arrow, so it's in the right spot. Now you'll also notice, well, if I can pick it up and show you, measurement charts are included, plus instructions on the back for tags, for banners, envelopes, and tabs. All right, so envelope to envelope, we're going to put that right there in these little ridges at the top and fit that in. All right, so now I'm making a 3 by 3 envelope, and that size is right here. It tells me to cut my paper to 5 by 5, which I've already done, and it tells me to line up the bottom corner of my paper on the 2.5 inch mark. So I'm going to do that, 2.5 inches, this bottom corner here. And then I'm going to take the scoring tool, and we're going to score right here, the closest score line, which is 2 inches. We're going to score right here, straight down. And then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees, and we're going to line that score line up right here on the score guide. And then we're going to score again, right down the 2 inch line there. Same thing, just repeat that on all 4 sides. And one more time. All right, now once you've done that, we're ready to punch the envelope. So we're going to go over here to this arm on the board, and we're lining up these 2 score lines, how they crisscross right there. Hopefully you can see that. We're going to line that up on these alignment guides right down here. So what I love about this tool, we've made it so easy to use. I mean, everything's just right there for you. So no guessing, no questions. Easy. All right. And then what you can do is round the corners, like I said earlier, for the envelopes. And we're just going to round the 3 because we're actually going to cut off the top flap. This top flap we're just going to cut right off because we want this to be a pocket that's open. So I'm just going to cut right along that score line. Now, if you were to just use this as an envelope, you would keep that flap, obviously, and use that to close your envelope. All right, so now we're ready to adhere, fold and adhere. And after I fold, I really like to go and crease these folds for the envelope so that it's nice and crisp. All right, now let me get some adhesive. We're going to just use some double-sided tape. Any double-sided tape for paper crafting works great. And we're just going to put some tape right there. Hold that flap down, and we are ready to go. Okay, now we can assemble the card. So let me scoot that out of the way. We're going to take our card base, and we're going to add the layer on top. And the way we're going to do that, because now there's some bulk back here, is we're going to use some dimensional foam or pop dots, whatever you want to call them. We're just going to put them on each corner and then a few in between. And that's going to hold that layer up a little bit so that you don't get that bump from the yarn and the eyelets. And these are great. And they also, just for your information, these, you know, because they're foam, they can get squished down. So if you're putting this in an envelope, it still works fine with those pop dots. So that's not going to hurt your, you know, it's not going to mess up your envelope that you're sending it in. So then we're just going to peel off the tops of these and get this ready to stick on. I like to actually use pop dots frequently in my card making because it just adds a little bit of dimension. Not too much to ruin, you know, your mailing, but just a little bit of dimension. Okay, so we're going to center that. And that's ready to go. And then we're going to put some tape on the back of the envelope pocket. And that is going to go right here, down just a little bit further. So we center that. All right, and then what we've done is we added to the supply list some really fun washi tape. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Before I stick that down, it will be easier to put the washi tape on before you stick it down. So we're going to put the washi tape just right down at the bottom. And then all you need to do is fold the edges back and you won't see them because it's going to be stuck down. So, and that just adds a really nice, fun pop of color down there. That's just a bit crooked. There we go. Okay. And then we will add this with pop dots as well. Probably just need two on each end. And that just, again, gives it a little bit more dimension, a little bit more interest. And we're just going to put that right there. And then you just slide your gift card in, your photo, you know, your little note, whatever you want to say. And there's your card, card number 1. And you've got plenty of room to write personalized note inside there. All right, so let me get this cleared up a little bit and we will move on to card number 2, which is going
to Allie,
yeah.
While you're cleaning up, can you kind of go over some of the functions of the cutting board? Because everybody is very interested in that cutting board.
Yes, okay. That is a great idea. So this cutting board can cut, it can score, it can stamp, it makes envelopes, it makes banners, it makes tags, gift tags, it makes tabs, you know, like tab dividers. It also can make pom-poms, tassels, bows, and then it has a hole punch and it has a corner rounder. So that's 12 different tools in one tool. And as I said before, it is absolutely my go-to tool of choice right now. This is the tab punch for making tabs. This is the hole punch for making tags, and there's a centering feature here. Envelopes. These are for tassels, pom-poms, bows. I mean, and this is, I showed you the stamping feature already, the stamping plate. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. And this is for your envelopes, your banners, your tags. So then I'll show you how those work as we go through class. All right, great questions. So next card is a really fun card. So right now it's kind of a big trend in card making to make what's called slimline cards. And these are called slimline cards because they actually fit into a number 10 business envelope. So you can send them that way. And this is not only a slimline card, but it's also an interactive tab card. So you've got, it's almost like a little booklet. So if you have somebody that you really want to send a personalized note to for the holidays, that maybe because right now you can't see each other, but you want to give them a really good update, send your love, you know, keep connected. This is a great way to do that because you can write a whole letter, you can write updates, you can add photos, you can add, you know, tags, you can make a little pocket and put a gift card in here. So many options, and this is really fun to make. So let's go ahead and get started with that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose 3 different papers. These are the ones that I've chosen. There's a buffalo check, another green and red and black plaid, and then this pretty snowflake embossed dark green, hunter green color. And so those are the three that we're going to work with. And then let me show you the sizes we're going to cut these. So they're all three 8 by 9 1/4. Okay. And that's going to fit perfectly into your little number 10 business envelope. All right. So I've already gone ahead and cut them. That's 8 across, 9 1/4 tall. And I've scored them right in half at the 4-inch mark. So we don't have to worry about doing that. That's already done. This is going to be the outside of the card. So I'm the base kind of, so I'm going to leave that alone and set it aside. The inside pages, which are these two, we're going to add tabs onto these. So let's turn the board this way. We're going to work with this punch right here. This is our tab punch. You can make small, medium, and large tabs. So what you usually would do is you would usually line up your corner with this alignment guide right here to punch for a side tab. But instead of that, I want to scoot it over because I want my tab to start about 1/4 inch down from the top edge. So I'm just lining up the edge of my paper with the end of this punch right here. And then I'm going to punch. And now you can see that's made a little notch right there. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to use that notch. I'm going to flip this over and line that up on the guide that says L for large and just fit that right into the shape there. And then we're going to punch again. All right, so now I'm going to make another tab on this side. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark right in this little tab that I punched with the pencil, just so I know where to start the next tab. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that pencil line and line it up with this guide right here. Put that in and punch, and then flip it over, line it up with the large tab guide and punch. All right, so we're going to do that again on the other paper, same kind of thing, except we're going to start at the bottom. So I'm going to flip this over, line this up right at the edge of this punch, right there, punch, flip it over, line it up on the large, the L for large, and punch. And then again, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark actually on the outside here where that tab ends, so I can start the other tab right there. And then I'm going to use that pencil line, line it up on this guide, and punch, flip, line it up on the L for large, and punch. Now, don't panic because all of those instructions for making tabs are included in your booklet that comes with this tool. And plus, on our website and our YouTube channel, we have tutorial instructions for every single feature on the tool. So you'll have plenty of information out there to work with when you're ready to make tabs and all of the other goodies you can make with this. All right, so now we're going to cut the excess off of these tabs. And what we're going to do is line up the bottom of this little notch right there with the cutting guide. And then this blade right here has a guide right here that shows you where the blade is. So that little line is going to line up on your notch right there. And then slide up, line this again on the bottom notch, and slide down. And there is your tab. So let's do that on all the other tabs and cut the excess off. And you can use larger sheets, like if you want to make your own file folders for organizing your stamps or your dies or your embellishments, you can make your own custom tab dividers for any project. All right, so I think I missed just slightly on this bottom one, so I'm just going to trim that with some scissors. There we go. All right, next one, we'll do this real quick. I like to use these for organizing my cards, like when I finish making cards. I'll often just pull out my supplies and use my scraps to make cards, all occasion cards, because you just never know when you're going to need something to give to someone. And so I'll use these tabs tab dividers to organize my cards in little boxes by theme. So like birthday cards, holiday cards, you know, just hello cards. So that's kind of a fun way to use the tabs. Okay, so now we've got the tabs done. And then we've got our cover, and we're going to just line these all up, stack them up together, nice and straight. And I'm going to use my bone folder to just crease them all together so they're nice and crisp. And then I'm going to take my Crop-a-Dile and I'm going to move my guide to 1/2 inch, so right there. And we're going to punch holes so that we can bind these 3 papers together. So when you punch, you need to make sure that everything's lined up properly. We're going to use 3/16 hole and just punch right on that crease. And same thing on this side. Make sure it's all lined up at the crease and at the edge, and punch right on the crease. And that is how we're going to bind this. Then you're going to take some twine. This twine is in your supply list. It's really fun twine because it's got some gold glitter thread mixed in there, so it's got a little sparkle to it, which makes it great for the holidays. And I'm just going to look at my notes. I think, let's see, how much twine have I got? 2.5 feet of twine. All right, and what we're going to do is from the inside, thread that in, that one end in, and then take the other end and thread it in. And then we're going to tie it on the outside, on the spine, just kind of right in the middle. So you're going to want to kind of pull this so it's pretty even. And make sure it's nice and straight. Oops, I should probably pull them at the same time. And then just tie a bow, a pretty bow. Now you don't want to pull so hard that you tear the paper, but you do want to get that nice and taut so everything stays together. And just tie a pretty bow. And then you're ready to decorate your card. All right, so for decorating the cover, we're going to take this plaid. This is a dark green plaid, and we're going to cut that to 1.5 inches wide and 9.25 inches long. Okay, that's for that one. And then the next one is this pretty buffalo check. That's going to be 3.25 inches by 8.5 inches. And then the last one is the pretty green and red check right here. We're just using scraps. Just wanted to point that out. We're using the scraps that you cut from these inside pages. So we're trying to use as much as we can as far as scraps go. So this plaid is going to be 2.5 by 7. All right. So, and then you're going to layer them together like this, just kind of, you know, with this sort of off to the side. Both of these are a little off to the side, a little bit more, maybe 1 inch, 1.25 inches down here, and about 1/2 inch of this extending off of the edges of the red. Okay, so that is how those are layered. And then we're just going to add some double-sided tape to the back of this, and then place that on the cover. And that's just we're going to center the red paper so that it's even on all sides, and then the green plaid is going to go from end to end. All right, so there's that. And then you're going to cut this tag out from the tag paper. This is Happy Happy Holidays. We're going to add an eyelet, which I've already showed you how to do up here at the top, and then add some twine. And then we're going to adhere this to the front as well. So let's grab some double-sided tape and stick that on. And that's going to go so that the bottom is just below the red and green check. And this edge extends just over the red plaid, right about there. All right, and then we're going to use some more washi tape. This is part of the set. I love this. Look at those cute little trucks and Christmas trees. So fun. That's just going to go right here at the bottom of the tag, just to add a little interest. And then you are good to go. Now let me show you again the inside. We're not going to take time to decorate the inside in this class, but you can add, there are bunches of tags. These are all tags from the paper pad. And you can just, you know, kind of do whatever you want inside there. So that's the second card. Any questions about the second card or anything else while I'm cleaning up?
Not at this moment. Everyone has been enjoying the class.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So glad. I don't know if most of you like to make your holiday cards. Normally, that's kind of like something you do every year, but especially this year, I think it's a great time to make handmade cards because it's a great way, again, to connect. When we're kind of not able to physically connect, we can connect through crafts and through handmade items, and that just shows like an extra level of, you know, effort and care, and it's really special. So, all right, so card number 3, we're on 3. All right, is this cute little number, and it's got a banner, and then we're going to make the banners with the tool. Christmas wishes. This one's a little bit more on the simple side, but it's really fun. And we've got, you know, kind of the banner tie up at the top with the yarn. All right, so this, oh, and by the way, this card is a 6x6 card. This is kind of a popular card size, especially among people who like to use scrapbook paper because it's 12 by 12. So it's really easy. You just chop it in half and fold it over and you've got a card ready to go. You can make your own envelopes, you know, 6x6 envelopes to fit these with the tools. So that's really handy. So you don't really need to worry about card size. You can kind of get creative and do your own thing and make your own envelopes. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is take this really pretty whitewashed wood grain paper. Then you're going to cut that to 6x12. Now, if you want the planks to be going horizontally, then you're going to need to cut it vertically. So this is where the cut happens right here. So you'll turn your, you know, your paper the right direction so that when you're actually going to hold it this way when you cut. So you cut this way, and then you're folding, and the bottom is where it opens. It opens up from the bottom. All right. So again, that's 6x12. There's your measurement there for the card base. All right. And then after that, you're going to cut 3 papers to 3x3. Okay, that's for your banners. You're going to cut 3 papers 3x3. And what I did is I used this pretty polka dot for 2 of them, and the pretty Christmas tree with the snow for the 3rd one. Okay, so but you can use whatever ones you want. So let's make a banner. Let me show you how to do that with this board. So we're back to this fun guide, and you've got your banner feature here. Here's your chart. So I'm making the smallest size banner, which is 3 inches, and you can go all the way up to 7.5 inches. And so 3x3 is what the paper size is, and it tells me to align my paper at 1 1/8 inch on this guide. So we're going to take the arrow here, the banner arrow, and line it up with the banner arrow on the board, just like that. And then take the 3x3 paper. Now, just so you know, when you're placing this down, the top of your banner, so if you have a design that has a top and a bottom like this one, the top of your banner is going to be right here and needs to go against this guide. Okay, so just so that it's you know, oriented correctly. So 1 1/8 inch is where we're lining up this corner right here, and then we're just going to cut. And then we're going to flip it over, keep that top aligned right here. Take this corner at 1 1/8. And then cut again. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right. And then you've got yourself a banner. Now the 3 inch size is really the height. So when you're looking at the chart, the size of the banner is the height. All right. So then we're going to add a piece of washi tape at the top, right across the top, just to give it a little bit of decoration. And then take some scissors and just trim the excess off, flip over the paper and trim the excess washi tape off. And there you've got a pretty decorated banner ready to go. Okay, so let's see. Let me move this tool out of the way. And we're ready to start taping. So what I want to do with this, let me just crease that one more time so it kind of lays flat, is I'm going to do red on either side of the green, and the green is going to kind of overlap the two reds. And then what I did, and you don't have to do this, you could do it all up at the top if you want, but I kind of added it at a tilt sort of, which just gives the card a little bit of motion and movement and interest. So we're just going to kind of go like that. And then I'm going to tape these down with the double-sided tape. Just kind of get them right up in the corner. And I mean, so this tool, well, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to mention this tool is great for card making, of course. It's also perfect for like do-it-yourself party decor. So if you're throwing any kind of a celebration, this is a terrific tool to get because you can make banners with it. You can make cards with envelopes. You can make gift tags. You can make the like a pom-pom garland. You can add tassels. I mean, so it's really fun for parties too. This is a great DIY party tool. All right, so there we go. And then what we're going to do is I've cut some of the yarn, and this is, let's see, 11 inches. That's probably a little more than we need, but that's all right. And I'm going to take this glue again, and we're going to just add a thin ribbon of glue right up above the tops of the banners. And that's where the yarn is going to go. And you want to be careful not to add too much. And I recommend a glue that dries clear, you know, so you can't see any of the excess glue, but just a thin enough ribbon that you know your excess won't show, but also enough so that your twine will stay in place, or your yarn. Then I'm just going to gently press that into the glue, and then I'm going to trim the excess with my scissors. Whoops. There we go. All right, and then I've made bows with the bow feature on the tool, 2 little bows, and I believe these are probably like maybe 10 inches of yarn, and then I made the bows and cut the excess off the ends. And those are just going to go at each end there. We're going to use the glue again, and we're just going to put a little bit of glue right on top of the yarn, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from the edge.
Hey, Allie, while you're doing that, a good question was asked of how often would you say switch the blades since you're going to be cutting and making them so many cards?
Right, right. So that's a good question, and it's kind of hard to say because it depends on how frequently you're using it. You know, if you're using it every day, multiple times a day, you're going to probably need to change that, you know, more frequently than if you're only using it once in a while. I change my blades, and you know, I'm a crafter by profession. I work, you know, in the craft industry, so I'm using this every day, you know, and I'm cutting a ton. So I probably go through a blade in 4 to 6 months, but that's extreme. You know, that's again, like I'm using it every day all the time. I would say if you're a normal crafter, it probably will last you for about a year. Just need a little bit more glue there. Didn't quite get enough. There we go. And you know, then you can switch it out. And those blades are available at Michael's as well. So, all right, now we've got that banner done. And then we've got a few little embellishments we're going to put down at the bottom. So I cut this pretty Christmas tree paper that matches the banner to 3 inches long by 3/4 inch high. And then I cut a V shape in the end to just make it a little bit more decorative. And then I cut another strip from the red polka dot, and it's 3 1/4 inches long by 1/4 inch high. And I just cut basically one of the rows of polka dots. And then I just cut an angle at the end, again, for a little bit of decoration, you know, kind of a fun little bit of interest. And then for the sentiment, I took this tag, cut it out, and then I just cut out 2 words from it. Christmas wishes, so that I can kind of customize my sentiment. So that's an option too, is you can cut apart things in this paper, cut apart the tags, you can cut apart designs right out of the paper. I like to call that fussy cutting, to use as embellishment. So paper can really go a long way for you. And we're just going to kind of layer these all together down at the bottom right edge here, and put that maybe like 1 inch from the bottom. And then this below that, and I'm actually going to use the glue for that because it's a fine tip. A little bit more, and there we go. And this just adds, again, you're kind of matching the colors from the banner, just pulling in those colors and adding a little interest at the bottom here. And then this is going to go, let's see, where's my card? Where did I put my card? Oh, right there. Okay, perfect. This is going to go kind of right a little bit above the green. And then the wishes is going to just go right below that. Oh, I actually don't need that for that. Let's do the tape. Easier. Okay. There we go. Okay, so there's your finished card. That's kind of a fun celebratory one with fun shapes and a banner. So there's that one. While I'm cleaning up, are there any other questions? Probably not, and that's totally fine. We'll get to some more. Okay, so our 4th card, let's see how are we on time. Okay, our 4th card is this fun one here, using the gift tag feature on the tool, and that's a pretty easy one, just really fun. And so let's get started. This is a traditional size. This is your basic A2 size card, or A5, sorry. So it's basically a half sheet of letter size paper. So it's the 8.5 by 5.5. All right, and it opens at the bottom. So you're going to go ahead and start by cutting the red cardstock, and I use this cardstock that has kind of like a wood grain look to it, but you can use a different one. There are a lot of different fun reds in there, and so cut this. Let's see, let me get my measurement here so you can see what that is. To 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and again, it's vertical, so we're talking about 5.5 across, 8.5 tall. Okay. And then score and fold. And then we're going to make gift tags. So what you're going to do is cut 3 different papers. And I used green kind of papers to contrast the red. But you're going to cut 3 papers to 2 inches across by 3.5 inches tall. That's going to be the size of the tag. So 3 papers at that size. And now I'll show you how to make a tag with the tool. All right, so once you cut your paper down, now there's no chart for making tags, because you can cut a tag to any size you want. So you can make a square tag, a rectangular tag, you know, in any size that you want. So basically what you're going to do is line this up on this guide, and there's no magic number of, you know, to line it up on here, but you're just going to look at your corner here, because that's going to be cut off, and see where you want that corner to be. Now, if you like a really deep cut, you can go higher. If you like really small angles on your tags, you can go lower. I'm going to go right at 1 inch there. So the top of my tag is lined up at the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to cut and then flip it over. And what's really nice is, let's see, I'll hold this up so you can see, there are alignment guides right here so that you can line up your tag exactly where you need it to be. Even once you've cut that corner off, you've got an alignment guide to help you out there. All right, so there's the tag. And then we've got a hole punch right over here with a centering feature. So you have guidelines right here that can tell you exactly where to center your tag, up to 3 inches on that, but you can punch a larger tag than 3 inches if you want. Okay, so punch the hole for that, and that is a 3/16 inch hole. So you can put eyelets in there, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to add one in there, and then just squeeze with the Crop-a-Dile like we did earlier. Squeeze that, and now that is fully attached. And then I cut some twine. Here are the other two that I already finished. Cut some twine and added some twine on there, and I've got some here. We're just going to go through, and there are different ways to tie a gift tag, you know, and add some ribbon or twine to the top. And this way is just a traditional bow. So it's really more decorative, not so functional. But you can always tape your tags down to gifts with the bow on as decoration. So it's really up to you. You have a lot of options. All right, so we're tying that super tight, kind of manipulating it, twisting it around. I think I'm going to make those bows a little smaller. Oops, a little smaller. Tighten that up. All right, and then trim. And then we're ready to add these to the front. Before we do that, though, we're going to take a piece of this washi tape with the trucks on it and add it to the bottom of this card, right along the edge. And then again, just flip and cut the excess. All right, now we're ready to add the tags. And we're just going to use our double-sided tape for that. And so our sentiment, let me show you what that's going to be, is this is one of the tags from one of the papers. I just cut out the ornament with some scissors. And so that's going to be our sentiment. And what I did is I arranged these so that the green was in the middle, because that's going to be a nice contrast against the red. So first we're going to put these two outside tags down and just kind of angle them just a little bit and bring them down a little bit lower, kind of right in the middle. And kind of try to match those up. And then the center tag, I like to just raise that up a little bit taller than the others, so it kind of stands out a little bit more. And then this we're going to add, you got it, we're going to add pop dots. Yay for pop dots. And I think 4 should do it for this. Peel them off. Again, this is a great way to add a little bit of dimension to your cards without too much bulk. All right, pop that right on there. And then we're good to go. Super fun. That'll be a fun card. All right, last card, guys, is a Christmas tree. So fun. This is so easy, but it's such a great design and it has such a big impact. This is a 5x7 card that opens on the right. And we've got a pom-pom tree topper. So this one, you're probably going to need to mail it as a parcel. So like a padded envelope would be great. Or you can just kind of hand deliver this kind of thing, or do like a, you know, distanced porch drop kind of a deal. All right, so let's get started with this one. Let me grab my supplies. Here are the step outs. And we'll get started. All right, so first you're going to cut this pretty snowflake paper again. And you can use, you know, we've already used some of it, so you can use your scraps for this. And this is 10x7. So it's 10 across. Here, let me just put that up one more time so you can get a good look at it. All right, and then so it's 10 across the top, 7 tall, score at 5 inches and fold in half. And then I'm going to just crease that a little bit so it's nice and tight. All right, and let's talk about these paper strips so we can get these measurements just right. Hang on, I've got them for you. Okay, so starting with this green that we used on the previous card, that is 4 1/2 by 1 inch. So all these are going to be 1 inch tall. This one's 4 1/2. All right, so that's your first one. Next, you're going to do this cute one with the holly berries. And that's going to be, again, 1 inch tall and 3 3/4 inches across. All right. Next, we're doing this pretty plaid, the green plaid, and that's 3 inches across, 1 inch tall. So that's 3 by 1. And then after that is going to be our red and green plaid, which we've used. So again, these are all scraps. We're using our scraps 2 1/4 by 1 inch. Okay. And then the last one. Nope. Oh, you know what? I think that's got to be wrong. Let's see. Let me give you the correct measurement. I think I wrote something down wrong. No, I didn't. That's 2 1/4 by 1. I just had an extra Post-it. Okay, we're good. All right, so this is 1 1/2 by 1. And this is that Christmas tree paper, the green. Okay, so there's the top of the tree. All right, so let's build our, oh, and then the last one, this is your tree base. Okay, and this is just 1 inch square, 1 by 1, and this is the red cardstock we used on the last card. All right, let's build a tree. So we're going to take this, and we're going to start at the bottom with the tree base, double-sided tape, and that is going to go maybe 1/4 inch. And what I like to do is just kind of center this on my cutting board here and just make sure that that is right in the middle, and then we're just going to go up like 1/4 inch. Okay, and then we're ready. And once you make sure that base is straight, then you're good. You can really just, you know, kind of align everything from that going forward. Just eyeball the center there. This is one of my favorite holiday card designs because it's so easy, but it looks very cool. Okay, and last one. All right, now let's work with the sentiment. So the sentiment is this Happy Holidays tag that you would cut out from your tag sheet. And I trimmed it down to, that's probably what that one was. This is the one that no, that's not it. It was just an extra. Okay, so this is 2 1/4 across by 2 1/8 tall. All right, so that's what I trimmed it down to just because it was a little big for the card that we're making. And then I round the corners. So we're just going to pull this tool over, use the corner rounder to round the corners. That's kind of a fun way to make your sentiment stand out just a little bit. And then I cut a piece of this red cardstock so that it's just about 1/8 of an inch border on all sides. So I'm going to just tape that down, and that's going to make that sentiment stand out just a little bit against the greens because this black color is a little bit close to the greens. Pop dots for this, 1 in each corner. Excuse me. And that way your sentiment will stand out just a little bit from the rest of your card. And then we're going to make a pom-pom, and that's going to be so fun. Okay, so I'm going to stick this kind of center it in the bottom 3 pieces of the tree. All right, let's work on a pom-pom. Okay, so bring this back over here. We're going to get out our pegs. Came apart. And it's, there it is. Okay. All right. Now, again, the distance that you put your posts apart, your pegs, is going to be the size of your pom-pom. I'm thinking, no, that's a good size, right there. So one peg in between. I've cut a ton of yarn. I don't really know exactly how much it is, but you can just use your, use your skein and just, go for it. So we're just going to wrap around. We're wrapping around, wrapping around, wrapping around. And then we're just going to start wrapping around this way. And the more you wrap around, the more yarn you use, the fluffier your pom-pom will be. If you like to have kind of a, a looser pom-pom that's not quite so tight and puffy, you can use less yarn. But the more you use, the fluffier it will be. And you want to be careful not to wrap around so tight that you're pulling those pegs together, because that will kind of change the size of your pom-pom. So we're just going to keep going until we use all of this twine or yarn, except we're going to leave a little bit at the end because we need some yarn to tie it off. Almost done. Okay, so I'm going to just cut off the last maybe 12 inches, and that's how we're going to tie it off. So you're going to slip this underneath, come up in the middle, and then tie a square knot, right over left, left over right. And you need to make sure that that knot is super tight, and that will hold those pieces together so they don't come undone. All right, and once we've done that, we slide it off. And here's the fun part. We're going to trim these loops with scissors. And I recommend using good, strong, sharp scissors, real sharp, like your kind of like your fabric scissors, probably your best. We're just going to trim all of those. And then you're just going to give it a haircut and just keep cutting, honestly. I'm going to do it on the board so that I can collect it all. And I just kind of like to go around in a circle and then flip it over and go around in a circle and just keep doing that. So then we flip this way, go around in a circle. And we're going to cut this pretty short. So because this pom-pom's kind of small, we want it to be nice and fluffy. So I just keep cutting tighter and tighter around. And I'm not going to take time to do it exactly perfectly right now. I've got one that I've already cut so I can show you, but you're just going to keep cutting different directions to get a nice sphere shape and trimming and trimming. Okay, so that's the idea. Here's one that I did last night that's ready to go. So that's how it's going to end up. Super cute. And then in order to attach it to the card, let me get this out of the way. Oh, actually, no. I need to cut some more off. We're going to cut the back of it so that it's kind of flat. So we're just going to cut off a flat section back here where the glue can adhere nicely to the pom-pom. So hopefully you can kind of see that, the back there. We've cut that kind of flat compared to the front. All right, so let's glue this to the top. We're using the liquid glue again. Just shake it up a little bit. And this is going just kind of up at the top here. Put a pretty good amount there so that you it can grab onto those fibers. And then again, I kind of wiggle it and press it down. And then we'll let that dry. And then I also tied a double bow, another double bow from the yarn earlier, and that's going to go right underneath the pom-pom. Right there, a little dab of glue, put the knot right on there. And there we go. How cute is that? So fun with that pom-pom. Anyways, any questions before we go? Maybe we can shoot back to the front camera so that we can answer questions.
At this moment, I don't have any questions. I mean, everyone loves the cutting board and the Crop-a-Dile. They are really loving all the tools that you've been using so far.
Good, great. I'm so happy. These are some, like I said, my go-to card making supplies. And so I recommend grabbing them. They're great. And I love that Michael's has, curbside pickup and delivery options so that you can shop safely and make our holiday cards. So thanks so much for joining me, you guys. It's been so fun. Card making, again, is one of my favorite things, just for connecting with loved ones and friends. And so I hope this has inspired you and showed you how valuable this tool is. I love it. And how much fun you can have with card making. So happy card making. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe and healthy, and happy holidays.